So welcome to all of our healthy living friends that are joining us this evening for our last family wellness workshop of 2022. That's hard to believe and to say. For those I don't know, my name is Julie Mahajer. I'm a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company and a wellness coordinator that loves sharing tips and teaching families about what I've studied the last 23 years. Today is actually my 23rd anniversary with the Juice Plus company. And I absolutely love getting to inspire healthy living around the world, sharing all kinds of nutrition tips and tools, and really blessed to be able to partner recently with my dear colleague, Angie in Arkansas, who is the owner and founder of the Good Earth Learning Center. And it is the coolest concept for a preschool. It's a forest and farm school, not just preschool, but early elementary, and it's just phenomenal what she does, summer camps and everything. So if you're in the Arkansas area, you want to check her out. But I love how she raises kids up and influences children, and she's super passionate about what I am as far as the health aspect, but from emotional well-being and discipline and that aspect too. So together, we're excited to bring you our next series of tips on nutrition and behavior. Tonight, my focus with Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the holidays this season upon us is kind of staying healthier here as we enter winter and this holiday season. It's not a coincidence, and we talked about this last month, that the flu season runs from Halloween through Easter. It's not just weather, even when this is my second stint in Florida, and even in Florida where the temperatures are warm, you still have a lot of illness, and a lot of it is how we're fueling our bodies. Inflammatory foods are going to weaken our immune system. Sugar is known to weaken the immune system, but unfortunately, a lot of inflammatory foods like sugar, white flour, other things are addictive. And so you start craving them more. It all kind of starts in the gut, and your gut health determines your cravings. So if you're feeding your body a lot of sugar, white flour, you're feeding the bad guys in the gut. They're signaling the brain to feed them more of that type of food instead of replenishing all the good bacteria in the gut, which really lives on fruits and vegetables. So the premise of everything we teach every month pretty much is, from a nutrition standpoint, load your body up with fruits and vegetables and plant foods. Those are your superheroes when it comes to your diet, and try to limit, reduce or eliminate inflammatory foods. For this month, I want to share a program with you guys that you may be interested in joining us and embracing. And it's really my tip for the holiday season. This is something I now have made my lifestyle. It's called our Shred 10 Healthy Living Program. And there's 10 guidelines. I'm going to share my screen and share with you guys a snapshot of this. But this healthy living program, I try to think about following it more, especially here as we head into the holidays, because it gives my body the best ability to, just trying to fix my technology here. So to give my body the best ability to fight disease, to stay strong. So if you're interested in more information, I'm just going to give you a brief overview, but you can talk to the person who invited you on this evening. And actually this Thursday night is one of our, every 2 weeks, we do a Zoom for Shred 10 support. So this is a lifestyle program that follows these 10 guidelines. There is group support on Zoom, also in Facebook, tons of e-resources. There's actually a Healthier Holidays cookbook that we can send you the link for too. So it is some of the best fall, winter, holiday favorites, but cleaned up. So lots of free cookbooks and support and other stuff. The guidelines, what they look like, these are the 10 guidelines. And the beauty of it is this is meant for families. It's flexible for children. This is a program that is safe for pregnant and nursing mothers, elite athletes, all walks of life. And you can choose to follow all 10 guidelines, or you can choose to focus on one and make that a healthy habit. That's really what we like to do with our Shred 10 program, is meet people where they are on their health journey and help you make truly changes that can become just an overall healthy lifestyle. So some of the guidelines are about adding. You want to add as many plant foods as possible. And then if you've been exposed or you've heard about our Juice Plus capsules and our shakes, those are an incredible foundation for the program because you're flooding your body with over 50 plant foods every single day, very easily and cost effectively. You want to focus on water, over half your body weight in ounces a day. We really teach and preach about breathing and sleep and moving your body. And then you want to look at reducing or eliminating caffeine and alcohol, which I know during the holidays that may sound like a joke, but again, you don't have to do all of these guidelines, but it's something to think about. Eating after 6 p.m., it's a proven thing that the earlier you stop eating, if you can stop eating at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed at night, your body then will rest better at night and replenish. If your GI system, if you're having to digest food overnight, your body's not truly resting. So the hormones that normally are in place to recover at night and your body resting at night, that doesn't happen. And then trying to reduce or eliminate processed foods. And then the last two guidelines are trying to eliminate gluten and dairy and artificial and refined sugars. So these 10 guidelines may completely look easy to you. You may look at them and be like, okay, yes, I could do this. You may look at it and be like, I need to pick one and focus on that. But when I am focused on these guidelines going into the holidays, I end up feeling so much better on January 1st. And I still enjoy everything through the holidays in moderation. But as I shared last month, the same tip about before I go out trick-or-treating during the holidays, before I'm going to go to a holiday party or an event, I'm going to fix one of my complete shakes or smoothies because it's filling me up with awesome fiber and protein. It helps balance my blood sugar levels and control my cravings. And then I'm not going to be as likely to want to binge on all the holiday stuff. And then just tweaking a few things. So I wanted to share a couple changes. So my pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, there is a fabulous gluten-free crust that I found just at Publix, just our normal grocery store. You can get it at Kroger. I'm trying to think of where you guys all live and what stores you have, but vegetable broth and chicken broth, things you're using. You can buy the gluten-free like stuffing mixes that you guys, honestly, by the time you add in all the seasoning and all the yummy stuff that you put in with your stuffing or dressing, whatever you call it, where you're from. But vegetable broth is something you can start looking at and make sure that the box of broth you're buying is gluten-free. That will just help reduce some of that inflammation from those foods. And then there's all kinds of plant substitutes for things like evaporated milk. You can do coconut milk, or you see there's the sweetened condensed oat milk. So my pumpkin pie is completely dairy-free, gluten-free. For those who are meeting me tonight for the first time, I have an autoimmune condition and I feel best eating gluten and dairy-free. And I didn't want to believe it. A doctor challenged me to try probably 6 years before I was willing to try doing it. I had started to limit dairy because I noticed for me that when I was eating more dairy, I had more sinus congestion and issues, but I wasn't willing to give up gluten. I bought a lot of organic, healthy, whole grain things, but when I did get gluten out of my diet, I did this Shred 10 and embraced all 10 guidelines for 10 days. I thought, I'm going to do this for 1 week and 1 weekend and see how I feel. And it was amazing to see how much better my energy was and how much better I felt. So for me, then it's just become a way of life, and it is really doable. So I want to encourage you, if that's something that maybe for your health, you're wanting to try. But the easiest of the guidelines is the addition of the Juice Plus capsules or gummies and the shake mix, because you literally are impacting your health in such a split second with powerful nutrition. And it's not hard. It's not something you have to change or do. There is so much research behind the Juice Plus powders of what it's doing in the body that it's not only the easiest of the guidelines to adapt and embrace, but it's the most powerful. It's proven in over 40 published medical studies to help all aspects of health, which is definitely was a game changer for me, especially with my autoimmune condition. I had been on Juice Plus and saw such a difference going from being on antibiotics 6 to 7 times a year to maybe once a year, if not at all, chronic sinus infections, allergies. But again, then I had probably been such a healthier me for about 14 years when I started to embrace some of the other guidelines in the Shred 10 program. And I didn't think I could feel better than I did, but I did. So I just want to encourage you on that. You may be using a shake mix now that has whey in it. It may be whey protein. And for those who don't know or realize, whey is dairy based. It's from cows. So that is going to be an inflammatory food. If you're looking for a shake mix that is super clean plant protein, this is my favorite. We use it for breakfast every morning, and oftentimes I'm fixing it for lunch or a snack later. Again, my tip for the holidays too, I always try to fill up on a super healthy smoothie or just even shake it up with almond milk before I go to something so that my cravings and stuff are better. And I know I shared this last month, but I think this visual is super powerful to realize that by eating low glycemic foods, which is what the Juice Plus Complete is a perfect example of, it has the same glycemic of like broccoli, the index on it. But when you eat low glycemic foods, so things that are high in fiber, your body is going to stay in that zone of willpower where you're going to be able to make good choices with what you're putting in your mouth. When you eat things that are high in sugar or white flour and things, then your blood sugar spikes and then you crash. And so you're craving and you're reaching for things that aren't as good. And one of the last slides I want to share with you is this one. Because as we head into the holidays, you kind of face the battle of the bulge sometimes. And it's like, okay, well, I'll start in January. I just want to encourage you to maybe start embracing a few of the Shred 10 guidelines now, because you again will feel so much better come January 1st. And we are not big proponents of dieting. We like to help people truly embrace a lifestyle. And as I shared, for the entire family, the guidelines are healthy for an entire family. And this visual explains why today I'm 2 sizes smaller than I was on a college dance team. And that's after I've had 3 children. Our children are now 21, 19, and 14. And I've been on this journey for 23 years. But I've learned that by flooding my body with plant foods and the Juice Plus as a foundation of great added nutrition, I'm truly cleansing my body all the time. When you diet or overexercise, those top pictures there, your body stores toxins in fat cells, and we all have toxins from everything we do in our life. So then when you do lose fat, because you will from dieting or overexercising, the toxins are still all floating around, and the brain signals to the body to create more fat cells to protect the organs. And so that's why you rebound, and it's like this yo-yo. But if you're truly eating a clean diet that's high in plant foods and low in inflammatory foods, then your body is going to truly reduce toxicity when you shed the fat, and you'll be able to maintain that lifestyle. So this is kind of a visual representation of why a lot of people who embrace the Shred 10 guidelines do notice weight loss, and they're able to maintain it and create that lifestyle really of all of it. So I wanted to share that. Again, for anyone who's interested, we can definitely get you more information about those Shred 10 guidelines or send you that visual so you have it handy. And a little teaser, but a tip real quick for for January for next year, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite quick go-to meals for the new year. But if you guys have ever seen Kevin's, these at the grocery store, I just want to give a huge shout out. They have probably 10 different varieties of things. And if they say paleo, I'm not a paleo diet person, but paleo is gluten and dairy free. So I know when it says paleo, then it's not going to have the inflammatory foods ingredients in it that I'm trying to avoid. They're also low in sugar. But like this chicken marsala I did tonight with some gluten-free chickpea noodles and broccoli and salad. And I'm telling you, this you can fix in 5 minutes. They're amazing. They have Thai coconut curry. They have chicken piccata, Korean barbecue. You can do it with rice, brown rice or things. So just over the holidays, if you're busy and you know you're going to be busy fixing a big meal for Thanksgiving, but you need something quick other nights, I highly recommend Kevin. So I just wanted to share that as you head into the holidays too. So I am going to turn it over to Miss Angie to share with us all the tips on the behavior side. And you may have to unmute, Angie, whenever you're ready.
There we are. I noticed Amanda joined us too. Welcome. And Dr. Cynthia joined us. I'm excited about that. Okay, let's get where we want to be here. And let's see. Well, I mean, we got to have a spiritual maladjustment first, right? Okay. So we are talking tonight about wiring the brain. Can y'all hear me okay? Yes. Wiring the brain for problem solving. And so let's start out with this. I get excited about conscious discipline, y'all, because like we have 42 kids every day and it just works. We flow and have a great time. I don't think Julie's ever been in and saw upset in our school. Some of our parents come in and will occasionally see some, but for the most part, we have peace and harmony. So here's one of the ways that we work it. So how many of you said when you were growing up, when I get grown and have children, I will never fill in the blank. I will never blank them. Now, how many of you blanked them pretty quick? I'm going to tell you why you blanked them. So we can help our children develop their frontal cortex so they can problem solve, they can set goals, achieve them, resolve conflict, they can develop empathy, and then they can even see things from a different perspective and access their genius. We're familiar with athletes. Julie particularly is. That's what they do for a living besides spread healthy living. But these athletes, you will hear them say, I'm in my zone, or I'm going to get in my zone. We're going to play here and get in the zone. And even us, sometimes we're just a joyful surprise to ourselves. We will be doing something or working with someone and think of something and go, God, I didn't even know I knew that. How did I know that I know that? I mean, we're just flooring ourselves. So that's what happens when you actually access your frontal lobes and you get full access to that integrated state. So this is the brain model that Dr. Becky Bailey, she's out of Florida. She wrote the Conscious Discipline program, and this is her brain state model. So we've talked about it for the last couple of months. This is our survival state, and that is where children don't feel safe, so they come out fighting, animalistic. And then the emotional state, where they're not screaming or hitting or surrendering, but they're actually saying things, but they're usually kind of mean. And then here's the learning state. Okay. So what I need for us to understand, so many times as parents, we will think, oh my gosh, why is this kid acting like this? I told them when they were born how I want them to act. Okay, that's just not how it works. First off, we will never get to conflict resolution without upset. So there's going to be some upset. If we don't have upset, there's not going to be conflict resolution. And if we don't have conflict resolution, we're not going to ever access this frontal cortex and expand it and strengthen it. So this slide is a wolf. We'll go back. And this is representative of the survival state. So if I'm having an event in my life, like I come up on a wolf, I am going to be in survival. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. And like this wolf is just kind of representative because we're not running up on many of those today. Our ancestors did, and we had to run for it or fight that thing. But guess what sends these kids into fight or flight? I want the red cup. There's not any more red cups. And then they hit the floor. Or I want ice cream for breakfast. We're not having ice cream for breakfast. They hit the floor. That's their wolf, folk. That's just as big to them. So here's what they can do. This is the skills they can access if they're in survival. They can attack, and boy, will they ever. Some of them bite, some of them kick, some of them claw, some of them spit. They can shield, try to protect themselves, defend themselves, hide behind mom's legs, or here's the other skill, they just surrender. And when I was growing up and when my mom was growing up, that was kind of the goal. Like everybody thought they needed to like scare kids into mind, and they're like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna go clean that room. Go ahead and talk mean to me. That's what we did to them. That's not how we think anymore, thank goodness. So, and then like the emotional state, that's where we get when things just don't go our way or how we expected them to go. So what skills do we have to solve problems when we're in our emotional state? Guess what skill you have? You've got the skill of whatever your mom and dad did when they were trying to survive. That's what we know. It's recorded in our unconscious, in our knowing, or in our unknowing, in our very deep knowing that we don't think about. It's recorded just as sure as that record's recorded. So whatever my parents did when they were feeling emotional and things didn't go their way is what I'm going to do. So if my mom was driving down the road and someone cut us off and she said, what are you doing? What are you even thinking? Or maybe it was more like this, because when she was driving, she didn't talk like that. That's more like how I talk. So, but she might have said this, do you want me to give you something to cry for? Would you like a spanking? Well, yes, mother, I've been planning one all day long. I was hoping you would offer it. But like, that's what she would say. That was her skill. That's all she had. And that's what she gave me. And that's why I said to you, how many of you went ahead and blanked them? When we get to the emotional state, the only skill we have is what we learned from our parents, who learned it from their parents, who learned it from their parents. And what we see generationally is someone saying, I think there's a better way. And we've found one here. And then I listen to my own children and the way they're choosing, which is intertwined with this and then more. But when I open my mouth, if I am in an emotional state and I'm not in frontal cortex, I hear my mother talking. So each of these states is asking a question. If I'm in survival, my question is, am I safe? The baby's thinking, am I safe if you walk out of her range of vision? If I'm in the emotional state, my question really is, am I loved? And if I'm in the executive state, it's, what can I learn from this problem? What is the challenge here? What am I going to do about it? How can I see it multifaceted? How can I see it from a different perspective? How am I going to solve this problem? And in this state, we can access our brilliance, our actual wisdom that's innate. Sometimes we can't even put words to it. We know more than we know. I talked about it a while ago. We don't even know how we know what we know, but something really brilliant came out because I was in frontal cortex and it was working. This is what we're after. We want our children to be able to access this state and get in the zone. So you asked me, how do we do this? How are we going to wire our children's brain for success? So this is the brain state model, and Dr. Becky Bailey is brilliant. She pulls people up in the front. So she has a person representing each state. So right now they're just standing there in individual states, like they're operating alone. And that's how children are. They've got this survival state or emotional state or executive state. They're either kicking, screaming, fighting, name calling, telling us they hate us, or they're problem solving, and it's not connected. So when we want to wire the brain, so when I get to upset, I can get from kicking and screaming and biting to solving a problem. I can use my capacity that I've learned to get out of this and into this. How many of y'all had rather deal with me when I'm in this? I had. When I'm here, I'm not any fun. And sometimes I come in like this and I'll just go around individually to my staff and say, you might want to handle me with care today. I'm fragile like a bomb. And there's different things that could make that happen until I can take a deep breath and get to here. It's the same with our kids, and we expect them often to function better than we do. But we want to be up here so we can solve problems, strengthen our frontal lobes, set some goals, and accomplish all these despite the obstacles in life. Learn a skill that when the obstacles come up, we can do this. So how do I build that road? If I want to get to Julie from Arkansas to Central Florida, what I'd really like is, what would be so lovely is if there was a road between me and her so I can get to her. And how are these roads created? They're created through connection to one another. You can see it right here. These girls are connected. And that's why when you have a baby, we've learned this, they want mommy and dad to bond. Now the big news is when you go to a hospital, you're going to see a daddy sitting there with a shirt off and the baby laying on their chest. They understand the importance of that bond. And then also we know they need to connect with their teacher and with their school family. And if you've been with me very long and your baby's missed school because they were sick, you probably got a video of our school family wishing them well so you could play it for them. We want them to stay connected and know that we miss them. This creates a pathway, a road, a map in our brain from here to here to here that sets these children up for self-control for the rest of their lives. So how do we get from survival, which is I'm just going to come out fighting, boom, or I hate you, go away, you're stupid, to I don't like it when you call me names. Call me by my name. My name is Angie. Call me Angie. Very young children can learn this. I remember, and I've told Julie this story, but when Astrid, my little granddaughter, was about 2.5, she was in the living room just swirling around, and Dennis asked her to stop doing it because it was getting on his last nerve. And she looked at him, she goes, I cannot help you with that, Papa. So he said, okay, smarty pants. And she marched right over to him and she said, hey, around here we call people by our names. You don't call me smarty pants, you call me Astrid Pants. And we called her Astrid Pants for a long time after that. It kind of stuck. It was so cute. But we want to get to saying what we need. This journey for our children, for our families, for our nation, for our planet, these are roads that are built not just by giving them a minute of attention or driving them to soccer or buying them things or even just sitting in the same room, but it is that touch, that eye contact, that skin to skin connection, that being present in a playful situation where you look each other in the eye. And in this setting right here, she had this girl turn around and look at her. When you start giggling, when you make that moment, that's when those roads are built in our brain to connect that survival, that emotional, and that executive state. If a child does not have these roads built and they get in a state of upset, guess what? They do not have a way out. They don't have a way out. So we will be expecting them to behave and they don't have the skill. They can't give back what they don't know. There's not a punishment and there's not a reward that will get them out of that state and get them to problem solving. You can't give them stars to get them to do it. You can't spank them to get them to do it. You have to actually build that pathway. But guess what? If we have those pathways built, something wonderful happens. This state right here gets to boss the other states around. Wherever she goes, they go. They're connected. So the executive state is the boss. The wisest part of us gets to lead us and help control our impulses. Thank goodness we're not just going around bopping each other as adults. Well, some do, but most don't. We get to own our own upset and we get to make wise choices. So I hope that tonight you got some kind of skill out of this where you know about building those pathways in your children. Back to you, Julie.
Thank you so much, Angie. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear her share, I just am like, can I be a mom over again with my kids? I want to have a do-over. It's so fabulous, but it's like I've tried telling people too, even if you don't have young kids at home, hop on our workshops, because I think everything she shares, it works if I apply it to my marriage, to any relationship in my life. Like seriously, as adults, it's so true. we a lot of times expect our kids to behave better. I know as adults, we get hangry, but if our kids are hungry, we expect them to behave. So it's kind of comical sometimes, but I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to join. I'll stop the recording and stay on for any questions, but I just wish you all the most blessed Thanksgiving next week. I hope you guys have a safe, wonderful holiday and kick off the season, and definitely talk to whoever invited you on tonight or to catch the recording if you would like any more information here to help you get through the rest of this year with your health, whether it be for nutrition or behavior. And we will be back with you guys in the new year. So thanks again, and we are available for questions too.